Alright, so I think the next logical step is we're going to go ahead and put the fan shroud on. So that has a captured nut in there. I did not disassemble this, pretty much just wiped her down. That's about what you have to it. All right, so we'll test the old theory on this mess here as far as how this connects. I think I'm gonna have to pull that mount off there. Oh yeah, that one goes all the way through. That should make it a little easier. So the way I take this thing is this screws into the oil cooler top. And that's that. And we'll put this little bracket back through here. There we go. So, and that oil filter captures in there like that. Let's go for fitting some of this other sheet metal. We will start putting all that covering back together. So let me get my stuff together for that. Okay, so here I'm going to put the intake manifold on, at least on this side, and it needs to be put on before any of the sheet metal because you access the bolts kind of behind it and it's buried inside the sheet metal once it's installed. So we'll just pop the gasket on there. I'm not going to put any sealer on it. There's washers and nuts on the outer holes and then a long bolt that goes down through the middle. And these are just 13 millimeter nuts, like typically everything else on here is. So we'll try to fish them in there without dropping them down between all the cylinders. And then we will tighten it down and just be enough. Don't need to be super tight, but like 20 foot-pounds, something like that. I'm not going to bother torquing them. I'm just going to snug them down. So we'll get all those on, and then we will work on getting the rest of the sheet metal put on. Okay, I got the end pieces of the cooling tins on and the manifold on. I had to repair these. You can see where it's welded. Weld some pieces back on them and made them fit correctly. Now I'm going to put these side pieces on and realize I'm missing part of it. There's a piece that's been hacked off right there. So I'm going to have to weld that back on and cut that, trim that to fit, and paint this side. So I was thinking on the other side it may have been put on there originally because that's where the breather tube goes through into the head. There's a hole on this head, but it's got a plug in it because they only use the one side. So here's the one for the other side, but I mean that's where the hole is on that one. So I'm not sure really. Thought maybe this was put on the other side originally, but the way the offset is and the heads are offset, it wouldn't work. So I don't really know why this piece is hacked off. But I will use the other side as a pattern and cut some metal and weld that in there. Alright guys, we're getting close, I hope, to getting this thing back together, finalizing. So we're back on the ground on my wooden boxes, and tonight we are going to try to get the flywheel torqued on for the final time. Now, what I need to do, I have a new lead seal gasket, whatever they call it. So this thing's offset, and I need to figure out where the offset is. Is that it? Get that thing. And that's not it. So anyway, we will get this gasket on there and lube up the sealing surface on the flywheel, put the flywheel on, and then I'll bring you back and we'll rig up some torquing method and we'll get this thing torqued on and recheck our end play for the final time. Take in the gland nut and pack that bearing in there with just some old blue grease I had. So start out just tightening it down and drawing it up. I took the heat exchanger off this side to give me some clearance. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to get all this torquing set up, rigged up on here. Alright, so that's now snug. Now, need to get some flywheel bolts here, which I think I used different ones before. And set up my torquing apparatus. So that one will definitely fit. And I need to find my other one. Whatever I used is my other bolt, and we'll get that set up and then we'll come back for the final torquing. Alright, so we're back. And this bolted up. I have my torque multiplier arrangement, which, if y'all didn't watch the other video, we added a length to it, and so by doing that, there's a formula. So instead of the 300 and, since I have a 250 pound torque wrench, by using this formula to get 330 foot-pounds, we need to go to 198 on my torque wrench because of the multiplying factor of this thing I rigged up. So we're going to go ahead and set it right to 200 for a little extra insurance, and hope I don't flip this thing off the engine stand. Make sure you can see my wooden engine stand. When I did this before, I didn't have all the sheet metal and stuff on, so I had to remove this heater box. Here goes. Now I want to keep this straight. So let me back the socket up one. All right, that was pretty heavy. So That should be the proper torque spec. So now we'll pull this bar off the flywheel, and then I'll get the dial indicator back out and we'll set that back up and check the end play one final time. All right, we're torqued on. Got a little different dial indicator setup, but I would say we're right at 0. Come to the front. Okay, we're all the way we're going to get that way. Still at 0. Now I'll pry on the front pulley and the engine case. All right, still right at 5 thousandths. We're a little past, so this thing's real finicky. Here, set back to 0. So I'm going to say that we're still at 55. So we're good. We're right at the bottom of the spec where we wanted to be. So next, we will work on, let me zoom you back out. So about all that's left is get the clutch put back on there, put this heater box back on. I need to tighten the front pulley now that I can hold on to it with something. Get the fan belt on, get my fuel lines back on, put the engine cross mount, and then we'll work on getting in the car.